Hello everyone. A moment in time. The precious moments that you hold dear in your heart. A moment of eternity. In life, we all go through a moment in time. The time that seems to be so eternal. But most of us don't understand the sacred, the true meaning of it. There are phrases that carry the weight of eternity inside them, and a moment in time is one of those phrases. At the first glance, it seems simple, just one instant, one breath, one tick of a clock. But the truth is, there are certain moments that break free from the ordinary flow of life, rising like a wave above the sea of daily existence, shining like a jewel against the dust of hours. These moments are not just measured in seconds or minutes, they are measured in meaning. They are the moments we suddenly feel the presence of life in its fullness. When we realize that what is happening right now will remain etched in the heart forever. Not every hour of our lives becomes memorial, but once in a while the universe stops us in our tracks and whispers, "Remember this. This is sacred." The nature of a moment. What makes something a moment in time is not its duration, but its depth. 2 minutes can feel like a lifetime if they can carry love, fear, or awe inside them. Likewise, an entire day can pass without leaving even a trace in memory if it carries no weight. A moment in time is like a photograph imprinted on the soul. It freezes reality into something eternal. We often feel it when something life-changing happens, a birth, a death, a vow, a farewell. But sometimes it arises quietly, watching the sunset with someone you love, hearing a joy laugh, or realizing for the first time that you are safe after a long storm. They are not just memories, they are thresholds, doors that separate before and after. The shore of Pulatanga. For me, one of the most defining of these moments came on the shore of Pulatanga. After 5 long nights at sea, I had left everything behind: my country, my parents, my siblings, the life I had once known, and stepped onto a small, fragile boat, not knowing if I would ever see land again. Every hour on the open ocean was filled with fear, the crash of the waves, the silence of hunger, the dark sky filled with stars that felt both beautiful and merciless. And then, after those endless nights, the boat touched the shore, Pulatonga rose before me like a miracle, a real island, not a dream. That first step onto solid ground was more than a physical relief, it was a rebirth. That moment was not just about survival, it was about transformation. I was no longer the same woman I had boarded the boat in desperation. I had crossed through fear, endured the unknown, and now stood on the other side of it, alive. That moment in time was etched forever in my soul. The sound of sand crunching under tired feet, the salty air, the tears of strangers who became family. It was the moment that I learned that sometimes life gives you back your future after testing how much you are willing to risk for it. The sacred vows at Portola Valley. Years later, another moment in time unfolded in a different setting, not on a desperate shore, but in a quiet sanctuary of Portola Valley Church. There I stood hand in hand with a man who would walk beside me through life. In that moment, time slowed, the world outside, the traffic, the noise, the shifting hours disappeared. All that remained was a vow spoken in trust. I will walk with you, no matter what tomorrow brings. Weddings are full of ceremony, but beneath the beauty and the tradition, there is always a moment when the sacred truth of love is felt most deeply. For me, it was in the touch of hands, the locking of eyes, and trembling exchange of vows. I was not just offering promises, I was stepping into an unknown future, but we were stepping together. That moment in time glows differently from the survival at sea, yet it carries the same weight. It was another crossing, another before and after. Before that moment, we were two individuals with separate paths. After that moment, our lives were braided together forever. Holding a son's tiny hands. Then life gave me another unforgettable moment when I became a mother. The birth of my first son was not only a physical event, it was the unveiling of a new dimension of love I had never known before. When I held his tiny hands for the first time, fragile yet filled with infinite potential, the universe seemed to pause. It is impossible to describe the rush of emotions in that instant. Awe, fear, tenderness, and gratitude collide in the heart. A mother looks at her joy and suddenly understands that her life will never again belong solely to herself. That moment in time is not just about birth, it is about the creation of a new identity. I was no longer just a woman, a wife, a refugee, a dreamer. I am now a mother. That tiny hand I held was a symbol of the future. It was the assurance that despite war, loss, and struggle, life continues, love multiplies, and hope takes form in flesh and blood. In that moment in time, cradling my son was a promise that my sacrifice had meaning. The first grandson. Years later, another sacred moment unfolded when I became a grandmother. The first time I held my grandson, it was not only seeing a new life, I was seeing a continuation of my own story, a living bridge between the past and the future. The tenderness of that moment was unique. As a mother, I had once held my son with trembling awe. As a grandmother, I held my grandson with a softer, steadier love, one shaped by years of experience, loss, and wisdom. His small face carried echoes of the past and whispers of the future. That moment in time reminded me of the mysterious cycle of life. The same hands that once held my newborn joy now hold his joy. I stood as both witness and participant in the flow of generations. That instant was not just about family, it was about eternity touching earth, about love being carried forward like a flame that never dies. By the hospital bed of my parents and siblings, that moment in time. There are moments that break the heart open. The goodbyes by the hospital bed, these moments in time are heavy, yet they are among the most sacred. Standing by someone you love, knowing that the minutes are numbers, teaches you the fragile value of time more than anything else ever could. The beeping of machines, the quiet of sterile walls, the fragile touch of hand that once held you strong. These are the sounds and images that imprint forever. Saying goodbye is not just about loss, it is about present. You learn that love is not measured by how long it lasts, but by how deeply it was lived. In that moment in time, in these painful moments, time seems to stretch. A minute feels like an hour. Every breath becomes precious. You feel eternity pressing close, as if the veil between this world and the next has thinned. And even though grief floods the heart, these moments remain luminous. They remind us that love is to one day say goodbye, and that goodbyes themselves can be moments of sacred beauty. Why these moments matter? As on these instances, the shore of Pulatanga, the vows at Portola Valley, the first cry of my son, the first breath of my grandson, the final farewells by hospital beds are not simply memories, they are anchors. They hold the story of my life in place, giving it depth, meaning, and shape. A moment in time is when the ordinary breaks open and reveals the extraordinary. It is when we realize that beneath the surface of life's routine lies a current of meaning that carries us toward eternity. We cannot predict when these moments will arrive. We cannot manufacture them. They come when life decides to reveal itself more fully, sometimes through joy, sometimes through suffering. But what makes them unforgettable is that they awaken us to the truth that life is sacred, fragile, and full of love. Living with awareness, the gift of recognizing these moments is that it teaches us to live with greater awareness. If one step on a shore can change a life, if one touch a newborn hand can open eternity, then perhaps every moment has the potential to be sacred if we learn how to see it. To live deeply is to pay attention, to notice the way the light falls across the room, to hear the laughter of the loved one, to hold hands longer, to pause in gratitude even during ordinary days. Not every instant we become one of those life-defining memories, but the more awake we are, the more we realize that every instant could be the eternal within time. A moment in time is not just about the past, it is about how we carry life forward. These moments remind us that time is not just something that slips away, it is something that can hold eternity within it. When we recall those sacred instants, we realize that life is not measured by years of achievements, but by moments when the soul is awakened, moments when we feel fully alive, fully present, fully human. Pulatanga, Potula Valley, a joy's tiny hands, a grandjoy's first cry, a final farewell. These are not just memories, they are eternal doors carved into time. As long as I carry them in my heart, those moments are not gone, they are alive, pulsing like stars in the night sky of my soul. And so, perhaps the true meaning of a moment in time is this: it is the way eternity touches us, one instant at a time. Isn't it profound? It's deep, and I hope you find many moments in time